Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'd like to thank the rabbinic team, Rabbi Alex, Rabbi Igor, and Rabbi Ilana, for having the imagination to create this special service for us today. I think lockdown is presenting special challenges for all of us, but there's no question that those of us who have pets have noticed that they are in absolute heaven, that all of us are around for all of the time. I commend to you this book, this wonderful, wonderful book by Jonathan Wittenberg, called Things My Dog Has Taught Me About Being a Better Human. And I'm going to read an extract from it for you now. Dogs aren't good at multitasking. It may sound like a defect, but it's one of the things I respect about them. The ability to do several things at once seems to me an overrated virtue. Of course, there are times when one doesn't have a choice, like the parent who has to keep one eye on a crying 3-year-old, the other on a restless 5-year-old threatening to run out into the street in front of a car, and the eyes in the back of his head on the warden examining whether or not he's parked on a yellow line. Sometimes, too, multitasking can be liberating. After all, many of the best conversations take place in the kitchen, where keeping the hands busy peeling potatoes somehow creates the right atmosphere for a heartfelt conversation. But all too often, multitasking means doing neither activity with proper concentration. It's the sign of a distracted consciousness, a symptom of the overstimulated, underfocused bewilderment of our times. The result is a wearying form of ceaseless, low-grade dysfunction. There's a special art to doing just one thing at one time with the whole of oneself. To appreciate what that looks like, all one has to do is watch a dog staring at a biscuit. Every facet of its being, the alignment of its head, the gaze of its eyes, the poise of its posture are all directed at that small but infinitely desirable object. Hebrew has a word for such concentration, kavanah. It literally means direction or focus. To do something with kavanah means to give the deed one's full attention. It's particularly important in the context of prayer. Prayer without kavanah, wrote Abraham Joshua Heschel, the modern-day mystic and civil rights activist who marched in Selma, Alabama, next to his close friend, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, is like a body without a soul. The medieval thinkers described different levels of soul, ranking the animal far below the speaking or the intellectual. No doubt that's true in the refined dimensions of philosophy. But on the wavelength of the heart, through love and joie de vivre, the dog frequently awakens in me a vivid sense of the commonality of life itself, embracing animals and humans, birds and trees. When I think of God, it's that ceaseless flow of being which I mean. The inexhaustible well of existence manifest in people, dogs, rivers, fields, and seas. With his joy and affection, his trust and need for love and attention, my dog Mitzvah evokes in me a deep sense of companionship, transcending the solely human. It's a fellowship shared by the horses in their dark fields too, their warm breath rising like thin mist. It draws me closer to whatever the source may be of most Mitzvah's life and mine, and of everything that exists. Sometimes it's the contact with an animal through which we come to feel a special kinship, or maybe even a favorite tree, which makes us aware of what is around us and within us the whole time. Yet without that relationship, without that bond with another form of life, we would be unable to experience this mysterious unity. Maybe that's what Eleanor O'Hanlon meant when in her beautiful book, Eyes of the Wild, Journeys of Transformation with the Animal Powers, she describes her encounter with grey whales as an opening through which there pours a wordless sense of connection with a greater life.